Christmas Eve, the snow was falling gently outside the cozy home of the Morgan family, creating a false sense of peace. Inside, the warmth of the fire contrasted sharply with the chilling events about to unfold. Bobby, just 10, and Jen, 12, were nestled in their pajamas, eagerly awaiting Santa. Their parents, Sarah and Mark, had just finished setting out milk and cookies by the tree when the first scream shattered the night. 2 escaped patients from a nearby psychiatric hospital, driven by delusions of grandeur and malice, had found their way into the Morgans' home. The intruders, known only by their file numbers 451 and 889, were notorious for their violent tendencies. The hospital's walls could no longer contain their madness. Sarah was the first to encounter them, her scream cut short as she tried to protect her children. Mark rushed from the kitchen, only to meet his fate with a butcher knife that 451 wielded with horrifying precision. Blood painted the walls, a grotesque contrast to the festive decorations. Bobby and Jen hid under the staircase, their breaths shallow, eyes wide with terror, as they heard the intruders' manic laughter. The house became a scene from a nightmare, with the sounds of destruction and the intruders' taunting voices echoing through the halls. The police arrived too late to save Sarah and Mark, but just in time to save Bobby and Jen. A shootout ensued, ending with both escapees dead on the living room floor, amidst the shattered remnants of Christmas cheer. The aftermath was a blur of sirens, flashing lights, and the cold realization that their lives had changed forever. Bobby and Jen were taken in by their aunt, but the trauma lingered. Years passed, and Bobby grew into a man haunted by that night. His mind, twisted by the trauma, began to see the world through a macabre lens. He became obsessed with the concept of justice, or perhaps revenge. On every Christmas Eve, he donned a Santa suit, not for joy, but for vengeance. Bobby, now known as Santa Slayer, embarked on a spree, targeting those he deemed guilty or corrupt, believing he was cleansing the world of the same madness that took his parents. His kills were methodical, each one a twisted Christmas gift to his dead family. One chilling Christmas Eve, years after the tragedy, Bobby decided to revisit his childhood home, now abandoned and overgrown. He needed to understand, to see if there was something he missed, something that could explain why his life had spiraled into this dark path. Inside, the air was heavy with the past. Bobby found his parents' old diaries hidden beneath the floorboards where he and Jen once hid. What he read there was not the story of 2 random victims, but of a family with secrets. His parents, it turned out, had been involved in something dark, something that had led those patients to their door as an act of vengeance rather than random violence. His parents had been part of a secretive group that conducted experiments on mental patients, experiments that had gone horribly wrong, resulting in the escape of 451 and 889. The realization that his parents' actions had directly led to their demise, and perhaps even Jen's disappearance, for she had never been the same after that night and eventually vanished, shattered Bobby's already fractured psyche. Now, with this new, horrifying knowledge, Bobby's mission changed. No longer was he just Santa Slayer, he was the harbinger of a twisted karma seeking to right the wrongs his parents had set in motion. His Christmas Eve journey would become a horrifying legacy, a tale whispered in fear of the Santa who came not with gifts, but with vengeance. And as each Christmas Eve passed, the legend grew, the terror spread, and Bobby Morgan, lost in his own hell, continued his dark pilgrimage, forever linked to that one fateful night when tragedy struck his family.